So yeah, this is the sad state of affairs of young people in politics today.
You cannot make this up. Donald Trump just announced that J.D. Vance is going to be his vice president. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this. You cannot make this. You cannot make
What does he mean you can't make this up? As he's making it up on his own TikTok, for frick's sakes. This as politics is dirtier than probably this guy's Snooki's poof on his head, as Joe Biden, the current president of the United States, just described on national television how he was kicked out of running for the presidency in 2024. Who was responsible for all of this? As of course, there continues to be more and more underhanded actions on an extremely sophisticated level being implemented against Donald Trump. As it's not just the Secret Service that failed him, it's also his own security team that was just literally hacked. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, as today the Secret Service also is now apologizing for breaking into a small business and pooping inside of it. Yes, you heard that correctly. Secret Service agents under Kamala Harris's detail were caught covering up cameras, duct taping them, breaking inside of a business in order to crap in their bathroom while allowing other attendees to do the same as they stole candies from the business. Here's literally the footage from the salon showing Secret Service agents breaking in and then afterwards leaving the store unlocked and keeping the tape on the surveillance camera, highlighting once again the utter disregard they have for human beings, as the Secret Service officially apologized for this maneuver, as their reputation keeps being tattered, as we still do not know exactly what happened when a lunatic tried to take the life of the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, who's going to have a lot of personal details about his campaign be released to the general public from Politico, that just released an article saying that, quote, we received internal Trump documents from Robert. Then the campaign confirmed it was hacked, as there's soon probably going to be some bombshells released by Politico. As in my opinion, this was probably some kind of a larger inside job. I'll explain my thesis in just a little bit, as of course my conspiracy mind is tingling already, as a lot of this is being blamed on Iran, that there's soon about to be a larger kind of escalation with inside of the Middle East. Very conveniently, how all of this is just kind of timed and prepped and just happening at the same frickin' time. And the main reason why I believe there's a conspiracy, because there's a lot of conspiracies unfolding in American politics, as revealed by the current president of the United States, as he just finally spoke out about what was happening behind the scenes, as he decided to withdraw from his presidential campaign this political election cycle. This, as a lot of people speculated, that of course Biden dropped out because of his health, as he explained that he is perfectly healthy, even though he slurs his words and doesn't kind of make coherent sentences, and it's very hard to listen to. As the president of the United States described a situation that happened behind the scenes that forced him to drop out, as today we found out that it wasn't his own independent decision that led to him dropping out, which of course is extremely undemocratic. Here are the words from the current president of the United States that described people more powerful than the president of the United States coming to him and forcing him out.
The polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did someone, and I thought it'd be a real distraction.
Now, that last bit, I think it's critically important, specifically saying the Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate who thought that they were going to hurt their race with, of course, Joe Biden as the presidency, as, of course, this kind of alludes to the larger reporting previously made by Simon Hirsch. as he suggested that major powerful Democrats, specifically Barack Obama and others inside of the current government that we are being ruled by, came to Joe Biden and threatened him with the 25th Amendment, which could have been implemented by the Democrats in order to kick him out of political power. Allegedly, this alliance also worked with Kamala Harris, that of course is being cheerleaded now as the savior of the Democratic Party that is very undemocratic. Simon Hirsch specifically responds to Barack Obama here as one of the major kind of wheelers and dealers that was able to mobilize this larger kind of undemocratic team of Avengers that made an alliance together to go up against the wishes of the people that have already nominated Joe Biden. Again, Joe Biden was their nominee. That's the guy that they were running with. Mid-race, they decided, this cabal of very powerful individuals, to secretly behind the scenes do a sort of coup d'etat here. A coup d'etat that clearly Joe Biden didn't want to do, but was forced to do because they put him in a position where he had no other option but to comply. Other individuals that were allegedly involved here was also Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. As, let's just be honest here, the things that probably unfolded behind the scenes were probably a lot more kind of sinister than we're actually hearing about in the general public. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with a new biological agent, literally injected him with it, had the antidote here and said, drop out, buddy. That's one potential conspiratorial scenario that maybe could have unfolded that I'm just kind of speculating on. The more practical, the more reasonable one is the one that we're hearing about from Simon Hirsch. But there's also a larger possibility of them literally tying Joe Biden down to a chair, putting him in the basement and saying, you want to get out of here, you're going to drop out, buddy. As the circumstances of Joe Biden announcing him dropping out were extremely kind of worrisome, concerning, and definitely out of the ordinary, to say the least. Even to Nancy Pelosi, that allegedly played a major role in this coup.
Accept the letter as anything but a letter. I mean, there are some people who were unhappy with the letter. Let me say, some said that some people were unhappy with the letter. I'll put it in somebody else's mouth. Because it was I don't even know, it didn't sound like Joe Biden to me. It really didn't, so.
And yeah, people even question the signature of Joe Biden on that particular letter that was released on Twitter instead of actually, making a statement himself. As it's important to note here that the current president of the United States allegedly was very sick in the making of his announcement, something that, of course, you should wait until you get healthy before making major life-changing, altering decisions on. As on the superficial level, there still is the larger kind of talking point here of this being extremely undemocratic, as Joe Biden admitted that he was pushed out according to the quartering, and that, quote, a vote for Kamala is a vote against democracy. This as Bronco Nation 80 decided to respond to this post by highlighting this clip from Game of Thrones, highlighting the likely scenario of what happened behind the scenes with many powerful top Democrats.
Maybe the decision about what's best for everyone should be left to, well, everyone.
Maybe we should give the dogs a vote as well.
I'll ask my horse.
As of course, that's probably what happens behind the scenes, as of course, our democracy, even according to many mainline studies out there, is a farce, as special interest groups have hijacked the will of the people and, of course, are buying out politicians to carry out political favors for themselves and their friends. And that's exactly what a lot of people worship in the corporate media, as the Wall Street Journal has a very interesting article today titled "The Art of Power." It was Nancy Pelosi's party, as they described how the Democratic leader was notably effective at keeping her caucus in line, as she is one of the richest and wealthiest people on the face of this earth that was able to use her position of power in order to enrich herself to what many people deem ungodly proportions. She is also declaring that it is now her life goal to ensure that Donald Trump never steps into the White House again. And with the way that things are being carried out, that probably will be the scenario as major predicted markets and major polls are shifting and highlighting more of a favorable situation more and more for Kamala Harris. All of this, as it's important to note here that Donald Trump literally survived a situation where someone tried to recently take his life. As if it was successful, it probably would have been blamed on Iran. That, of course, there's a lot of tensions brewing right now in the Middle East with. As Politico today details how Trump's crucial power has been, quote, neutralized with the ousting of Joe Biden undemocratically, as Kamala Harris was put in there by many elites that, of course, are running with her full steam ahead. As I think one of the biggest undermining kind of effects that the Donald Trump campaign recently faced was this hack that happened to them, allegedly, according to the intel agencies, by Iran. And again, lots of groundwork is being shaped up and has been shaped up for many years on now to lead up to a full-on conflict with Iran, something that I think is a grave mistake, something that I think shouldn't happen, something that I think we should be doing everything in our power peacefully in order to prevent. As there was a major hack of Trump's campaign that allegedly have leaked very sensitive data to Politico that is reporting today that they have not independently verified the identity of their hacker or the motivation, as they received a treasure trove of personal private emails and documents from Trump's campaign that will be making it to the public light very soon, as I think a lot of people will be saying that this is clear election interference. And when it comes to hacking campaigns, it's important to note here that anyone could be responsible here, as of course it's very difficult to kind of track, to trace, and to figure out exactly who is responsible, as many times it could be a 12-year-old American kid that just outsmarted everyone. Or it could be foreign governments, or it could be foreign governments staging false flags to make other governments look culpable and guilty here. A lot of those variables could be potentially true, but I think one of the most kind of logical conclusions to come to, especially with this latest revelation, is that probably the official story of what we're getting here probably isn't true, as of course the trajectory of starting conflicts with Iran fits the original kind of diagnosis of what's happening right now. As it's also important to note here that Donald Trump has pissed off a lot of people within the intelligence agencies that do have the capabilities of hacking and, of course, leaking private data and information to the general public, as this is direct interference in the 2024 elections, and according to Trump's spokesperson, will be sowing chaos throughout the democratic process that isn't really that democratic. Now, what are we going to be finding out from these kind of revelations, from these kind of documents? Well, it's probably going to be affecting what we heard about, and unlike Hunter Biden's laptop story, the corporate media probably will be running full steam ahead with all of these news articles, with all these revelations that will be playing a major impact, especially on the voter base, and giving Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party establishment machine, along with the corporate media, along with the intelligence agencies, along with big tech social media companies, an unfair advantage during this political cycle that clearly there's a lot of underhanded, unfair things being carried out in. That's just my perspective. That's just my political opinion. What do you think is really going on here? As of course, I have my suspicions that what we're being told is probably just scratching the surface to the larger kind of conspiracies that are unfolding behind the scenes that are probably a lot more sinister than we could even potentially imagine. What do you think is the most sinister potential conspiracy unfolding here? Let me know down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys subscribing. And yeah, check out wearechange.shop. We have a great line of supplements and products that keep this show going. We have the Ultimate Bundle, which is really great and supports us and allows us to, of course, grow and expand this independent operation. I, of course, have the Essential Fatty on my desk. I saw a lot of really interesting studies specifically with fish oils and being able to, of course, gain weight when you're powerlifting. And I've been working out, taking care of my health as best as I can. I've been taking my blood results and analyzing them and talking to many medical professionals, and I'm optimizing myself to be the strongest, best version of myself. And you should too. And one of those first steps could be going to wearechange.shop and starting your own independent health journey there. See you there right after this broadcast. The link is down in the description. Click it, and I will see you there right after this broadcast. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys supporting us, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.